So I was hoping to have this recording done last week so that I wouldn't have to worry about it during this week while I'm participating in the annual Festival of Homiletics, or in other words, the preaching conference I like to attend every year. But it seems appropriate that I've waited because the topic for this year is caring for creation. And listening to this week's sermons and lectures, I was reminded of the fact that during this pandemic, it's almost like the earth is taking a deep breath and delighting in the fact that we're not polluting it in our usual fashion. One of the speakers this week reminded us that in the Old Testament, in the book of Leviticus, every 7 years the people were to let the earth lie fallow for a year to afford it some rest. And then also every 50 years was to be a year of Jubilee, when the earth was again given a rest and all debts were forgiven and people were to live with absolute concern for those who didn't have anything. It almost seems ironic that on this 50th anniversary of Earth Day, we are finding ourselves in that situation. Except that, ironically, we are actually caring for the earth in a different way, in that while we are not causing as much pollution, we are actually recovering our delight in gardening and in growing our own food. I'm amazed at the number of friends I see on Facebook who I have never known before to be gardeners, who have actually started plants indoors from seed, sometimes with their children as sort of an educational thing, but sometimes just because in this time we want to grow our own food. We want to become more self-sufficient. And I think while it doesn't quite jive with the biblical precedent maybe of letting the earth rest, I think it's actually quite beautiful that we're recovering what our parents and grandparents did, which was to care for the earth, to respect the earth by allowing it to produce food for us. And we're getting out there and digging in the soil again, getting our hands dirty, and delighting, absolutely delighting, and waiting for that food to come. This is not really new to me, as I grew up on Prince Edward Island, and of course we love to grow potatoes there, but we also grow other things. And I also grew up in a family where my mother loved to plant her little garden every year. And then in our early family life in the eastern townships of Quebec, we used to rototill up a huge patch of land behind the manse, and we grew all of our vegetables for the year when our children were small. Anything that wouldn't last in cold storage, I preserved in one way or another. Then there was a gap in our gardening when life was busy and we moved to the city, but when I bought my own home 9 years ago, I started gardening again. And this week, I managed to plant my little patch. While my garden is small, I have never lost the absolute delight in putting those plants in the ground and waiting for fresh vegetables in August and September. I'm sad this year that I didn't have those precious little 2.5-year-old hands helping me to do the planting. But as he requested, I've planted a blueberry bush for him, and I hope he'll be here to pick those berries in August. We have a long way to go to make up for the damage we have done to God's precious creation. But during this downtime, we can delight in the fact that we are actually doing as God called us to do, touching the earth lightly and using the earth gently. Oh, and here's the secular lyrics for you to contemplate today. And I want it to be your prayer. Yes, it's a country and western artist, but if you know who it is, you'll know the entire song is perfect for these days, aside from shaking the hand of a neighbor. Today, I'm going to try to change the world. Going to take it one day at a time. I've made my resolution. I've opened up my eyes. Today, I'm going to try to change the world. Stay well. Enjoy the guest preacher on Sunday, and see you next week.